Sharm El Sheikh, a dreamy destination by the Red Sea, usually known for its sunny beaches and underwater wonders, took a scary turn in December 2010. Within just a few minutes, 4 people were seriously injured by sharks in the Ras Nazrani area. It was a shocking event that left people rattled and curious about what had happened. Sharm El Sheikh, Egypt is a popular destination for tourists looking for sun, sea, and adventure. With its vibrant coral reefs filled with marine life, clean beaches, and luxurious resorts, it's no surprise that Sharm El Sheikh is a popular destination for visitors from all over the world. However, in 2010, this peaceful paradise was rocked by a series of shark attacks that shook the tourist industry. Experts describe the attacks as unprecedented, resulting in multiple injuries and the tragic death of one woman. Among them, Olga Martsinko and Lyudmila Stolyarova. Both had to have part of their injured limbs removed. Despite its dark history, Sharm El Sheikh remains a popular tourist destination. Its breathtaking underwater world continues to entice divers and snorkelers looking to explore vibrant coral reefs and encounter exotic marine life. The city's high-end resorts and hotels cater to visitors seeking relaxation and luxury, while its bustling markets showcase Egyptian culture and cuisine. First, let's take a look at Olga Martsinko and the events just before her attack. In November 2010, Olga had gone on vacation to Egypt with her daughter Lyudmila, and they had been enjoying the stunning coastal scenery and introducing her to the culture of the new nation. Olga liked to think of herself as like a fish, and she was happiest when she could pass the time in the water. Olga and Lyudmila were relaxing at the surface, enjoying a final dip before lunch, following a perfect afternoon spent in the bay observing the gleaming schools of fish dancing among the reefs. Since they both enjoyed swimming, they had spent the majority of their vacation in the Red Sea's pristine waters. The mother and daughter would never make it to their lunch date, but they had agreed to go for one last swim before deciding where to eat. On the day of the attack, at 2:40 p.m., Olga Martsinko had been floating in aquatic bliss near a pontoon at Maritime Resort on Coral Bay. It felt like paradise. Olga was enjoying the warmth of the sun on her face as she stretched her arms and kicked her flipper softly to stay afloat. Everything was fine until something strange felt rough against her left hand, disturbing the peace of the moment. At first, she suspected it was a rock, but it felt too leathery to be a rock, so she tried to figure out exactly what she was touching. She was startled and turned towards Lyudmila, her heart racing with fear, her eyes filled with tears as she struggled with the unsettling disruption. Olga made one final attempt to comfort herself, thinking it had to be a playful dolphin. Her hopes were short-lived though, as the first bite pierced her arm and caused terrible pain all over her body. With a quick glance to her left, she saw the frightening shape of a shark. Its jaws clamped around her limb, shaking violently and dragging her beneath the surface. Immediately, she cried out to her daughter in an anxious prayer for help, her voice shaking with fear as she said, "Spatsitsi akula," help, shark. Olga, grasping for air as she resurfaced, realized she had a brief moment of freedom. She kicked her swim fin strongly, desperate to get herself to swim the 9 meters to safety on the pontoon. But the relentless predator was undeterred, launching a series of aggressive attacks from behind as Olga fought for her life with each stroke. With every vicious bite, she was filled with fear and a sobering realization that she was running out of time and risked being eaten alive. Olga's heart raced as she got closer to the pontoon, her strength failing by the moment, knowing she would not make it out of the never-ending assault alive. Luckily, a group of tourists saw her cry for help and rushed to save her, carrying her out of the water before the predator's teeth could deliver their last deadly bite. It was shocking to see Olga's injuries as she lay face down and moaned on the jetty, trying to escape. Her lower back and buttocks had been torn apart to the point where the base of her spinal column was exposed. In the initial bite, Olga also suffered the amputation of her left forearm, and a long gash ran down her right thigh. The lack of cords and stretchers hampered attempts to assist the injured lady. Eventually, first responders on the beach, with no experience handling anything more serious than minor cuts and bruises, showed up. In an attempt to preserve her life, the patient was lifted onto a sunbed and driven to an ambulance which quickly rushed her to Mount Sinai Hospital. On the other side of the sun-kissed beach, Lyudmila and her husband Vladimir found comfort in Coral Bay's warm sands. With their vacation coming to an end, she was determined to soak up every last ray of sunshine and enjoy the gentle embrace of the warm waters before returning to the frosty embrace of their home in Russia. Lyudmila, eager for one final swim, and disappeared into the azure depths. Meanwhile, dive instructor Hassan Ali took his client on a fascinating tour of the interesting world of underwater exploration beneath the calm surface of the sea. With each dive, he enjoyed the opportunity to show others the wonders hidden beneath the waters. As their excursion came to an end, Hassan's senses were suddenly heightened when he noticed the unmistakable silhouette of a 3-meter white-tipped shark approaching with nervous tension. Recognizing the potential danger, Hassan created a strategy to deter the predator, making himself and his client appear as large and imposing as possible. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, they attempted to repel the approaching threat as the shark circled them, looking for a weak point of entry. However, despite their efforts, the shark's predatory instincts remained unaffected. It rushed to the surface, its hunger driving it to seize its next unsuspecting victim, Lyudmila. Hassan couldn't believe his eyes as a shark grabbed the woman's leg and pulled her underwater. He felt helpless as he watched the shark tear into her leg with terrifying force. In just a few seconds, the shark ripped off her foot, and the water turned red with her blood. Hassan was worried about his client, so he quickly brought her back to the surface and handed her over to someone else. Then he dove back in to try and help the woman who was being attacked by the shark. He yelled to everyone on the beach to get out of the water because there was a shark attacking people. But it seemed like everyone already knew because they had seen another woman, Olga, being attacked just 10 minutes earlier. It was a scary and chaotic situation, and Hassan felt like he had to do something to help. As the lifeguards raced to get Olga onto the jetty, their relief was short-lived when they heard the chilling screams of another victim nearby. When they turned their gaze, they were confronted with the terrifying sight of an elderly woman, her body covered in blood. It came on them that the predator responsible for Olga's attack was still on the prowl, prompting an emergency call to evacuate the beach. With Hassan's help, they quickly retrieved Lyudmila from the water and laid her beside Olga as they raced against time to stop the bleeding from both victims. One woman ran up to Vladimir and said something terrible had happened to his wife. He jumped on his feet and saw people carrying his wife on a sunbed. He said that he ran up to her and could hear her gasping, "Shark, shark, shark." She somehow managed to push the shark away from her. The shark bit off her arm, but she managed to swim closer to the shore. Before she was out of the water, the shark attacked again and bit off her foot. Within a few minutes, ambulances arrived to take Lyudmila and Olga to the nearest hospital, where their fight for survival would take on new urgency. However, the situation was terrible, particularly for Olga, who had suffered a heart attack en route. Despite being revived by medics, she was in shock, barely conscious, and required a 6-liter blood transfusion. Lyudmila's condition was not much better, and surgical personnel rushed to save both women. Their conditions eventually stabilized, and they were flown to Moscow in the same plane for further treatment. That evening, the Mount Sinai Hospital medical team and witnesses to the attacks were in complete shock. At the time, no one could understand how 2 people could be attacked in the same bay just minutes apart. The women spent 2 months in a hospital in Cairo before they were airlifted together to Sheremetyevo International Airport near Moscow for their journey back home. Their recoveries were slow and challenging, with Olga facing complications as her wounds became septic upon her return to Russia. Despite the hardships, both women eventually made full recoveries, though their bodies bore the lasting marks of their ordeal in the form of scars. The shark responsible for the attacks had a distinct notch on its fin, as seen in a photo taken by a client diving with Hassan Ali. As a response, authorities shut down the beaches and stopped all diving and water activities. Experts from the Egyptian Environment Ministry stepped in to investigate the incidents. They captured a 2.25-meter-long oceanic white-tipped shark, weighing 150 kilograms, which they believed was the culprit. But there's no solid evidence for this. Another shark, a mako measuring 2.5 meters and weighing 250 kilograms, was also caught. However, divers and conservationists argued that these captured sharks didn't match the one spotted before the attacks. In 2010, just 41 days before the terrifying double attack on Olga and Lyudmila, Lithuanian tourist Elena Rubanovich had her own harrowing encounter off the coast of Sharm. While snorkeling one morning, she spotted a shark nearly her size, darting just a meter below her. Frightened, she swam towards the jetty, hoping to escape, but the shark swiftly returned, sinking its teeth into her leg. Despite her screams, the shark persisted, biting her again, this time above the knee. After a continuous struggle, Elena finally managed to pull herself onto the jetty. The terrifying experiences of Olga and Lyudmila highlight the hidden dangers that can exist in peaceful waters. Their courage and the support they received from those around them show how strong people can be when facing tough situations. Thank you for watching. If you want to know more shocking animal attacks, simply click on the next video. Don't miss out. Hit the subscribe button for more terrifying stories. Until next time, stay safe